Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a fascinating piece of American literature, Nathaniel Hawthorne's Rappaccini's Daughter. This dark Gothic tale from the 19th century explores themes of science, nature, and the moral consequences of tampering with life. If you haven't read it yet, no worries. I'll summarize the plot and dig into some of the deeper themes and symbolism behind the story. Now let's get started. Let's break down the story. The tale begins when a young student named Giovanni Guskantine arrives in the city of Padua. He rents an apartment that overlooks a beautiful yet strange garden, one that's owned by the reclusive Dr. Rappaccini, a brilliant but controversial scientist. Now, this garden isn't your average lush greenery. It's a place where exotic plants grow, but something's off. The flowers, the vines, they seem to have an unnatural vibrancy. Giovanni soon notices that the air around the garden is thick and sweet, but also seems strange and dangerous. One day, Giovanni spots Rappaccini's daughter, Beatrice, tending the plants in the garden. She's beautiful, almost otherworldly in her grace, but there's something strange about her too. As she touches the flowers, they seem to bloom with even more intensity, almost as if she has a special connection to them. Giovanni is instantly captivated by her, and they begin to converse from across the garden walls. As their relationship grows, Giovanni begins to realize something unsettling. He starts feeling ill after spending time near the garden, and the people around him warn him that Beatrice is no ordinary woman. It turns out that Dr. Rappaccini has been using his daughter as an experiment. He has made her body as poisonous as the plants she tends to. Every touch, every breath is toxic. Beatrice, though unaware of the full extent of her condition, begins to feel a deep sense of loneliness and isolation because no one can touch her or be close to her without suffering the consequences. And here's the twist. Giovanni, after learning of the poison in her veins, still falls in love with her, and he seeks a way to save her, but the tragedy unfolds when Giovanni, in an attempt to cure her, gives her an antidote, but it ends up killing her instead. The poison she had been given was not something that could be reversed. Okay, let's unpack some of the major themes of this story. First off, science versus nature. Dr. Rappaccini represents the overreaching of science, his obsession with perfecting nature, and the dangers that come with manipulating life. Beatrice, on the other hand, is a product of this experiment, caught between human and botanical existence. It is a great exploration of how scientific advancement can sometimes come at the expense of humanity. Another big theme is isolation. Beatrice is isolated by her father, who keeps her away from the world, and also by the very nature of her condition. She can't touch anyone, she can't have the normal relationships or human connections that others do. This raises the question of what it really means to be human. Beatrice may appear human, but is she truly? Her poisonous nature suggests a kind of alienation from humanity. "Miserable!" exclaimed Rappaccini. "What mean you, foolish girl? Dost thou deem it misery to be endowed with marvellous gifts against which no power nor strength could avail an enemy?" Beatrice says, "I would fain have been loved, not feared." And then there's the dangerous allure of beauty and desire. Giovanni is captivated by Beatrice from the moment he sees her, drawn in by her beauty, unaware of the toxicity lurking underneath. His obsession with her blinds him to the danger she represents until it's too late. This might symbolize how people often pursue beauty and desire without fully understanding the potential consequences of their actions. In this particular scene, Giovanni throws down a bouquet of flowers to Beatrice, and he makes up a excuse as to why the flowers, freshly flowers that he gave to her, are now already dead. But a few as the moments were, it seemed to Giovanni when she was on the point of vanishing beneath the sculptured portal, that his beautiful bouquet was already beginning to wither in her grasp. It was an idle thought. There could be no possibility of distinguishing a faded flower from a fresh one at so great a distance. He was ignoring all the signs that were telling him that something was wrong. Let's talk about the characters for a minute. First, we have Giovanni. He is a young, impressible, and full of ambition, just like many young people. His fascination with Beatrice blinds him to the truth. He's a classical example of someone who falls victim to their own desires, and Giovanni's actions lead to tragic consequences, showing how ignorance and desire can sometimes lead to irreversible damage. Beatrice's last words to Giovanni were, "Oh, was there not from the first more poison in thy nature than in mine?" Dr. Rappaccini, the mad scientist. He is a man of great intellect, but his moral compass is questionable at best. He justifies his actions by saying that he's working for the greater good of mankind, even though it's clear he's more interested in his experiments than the well-being of his own daughter. Rappaccini's obsession with control over nature is his undoing, and its cautionary tale about the potential dangers of unchecked scientific experimentation. And of course, Beatrice. She's the tragic figure of the story. At first, she seems like the perfect romantic character, but as we learn more about her, we see that she is a victim of her father's experiments. Beatrice is innocent yet cursed by the very thing that makes her beautiful. She longs for human connection, but is literally poisonous to those around her. Her death symbolizes the ultimate consequences of her father's blind ambition. In conclusion, my thoughts are that I believe Giovanni should have stayed away from the garden and listened to the warnings that were told to him. And I think that Dr. Rappaccini was more upset that Beatrice, his greatest experiment, is now gone rather than understanding his role in her tragic life. I also believe the Professor Balgoni's actions were unethical and immoral. To give Giovanni the poisonous silver phase to give to Beatrice. His last words to Rappaccini, Balgoni says, "Rappaccini, Rappaccini, and is this the upshot of your experiment?" I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Rappaccini's daughter. It's a tragic and thought-provoking story, and I highly recommend giving it a read if you haven't already. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that Dr. Rappaccini had good intentions? Or was he just blinded by his own ambition to gain knowledge? And what do you think of Giovanni's choices? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, and comment.